What Toto Wolff has just spilled regarding Lewis Hamilton is nothing short of astonishing. Try to erase whatever you assumed you knew regarding Ferrari's issues with Hamilton, because the truth, as revealed by the man who built his fortune at Mercedes, is much more sinister. It is not so much about being quick. It is not so much about producing outcomes. It is personal. It is brutal. And it is incriminating. It is not just the story of a car that's not fast enough. It is the story of seven-time world champion losing his edge, a mythical team losing its soul, and a project that was going to revolutionize all things now on the verge of collapse. Toto Wolff has not just pointed fingers. He's peeled away the layers and revealed the cracks, the brutal cultural misalignment, the broken rhythm, the absence of synergy, the internal confusion at Maranello that's slowly draining the spark out of one of the greatest drivers Formula One has ever seen. And the most terrifying part? All of this is happening at the very start of what was meant to be Ferrari's glorious new era. What's unfolding isn't a slow start. It's a crisis, a reality check for Ferrari, an awakening for Hamilton, and perhaps the beginnings of a legacy slipping quietly away. Because when the one person who knows you best starts asking himself what went wrong, you'd better sit up and listen. So before we dive into all the fire stuff of what Toto Wolff just released, the car, the culture, the mojo that's been lost, and what it might mean for Lewis Hamilton's future in red, do us a gigantic favor. Like this video, subscribe, and join us to the end of this video. Because what is happening at Ferrari today might not only decide a season, it could decide the final chapter of Lewis Hamilton's Formula One career. What Toto Wolff just revealed to us about Lewis Hamilton is brutally honest, deeply personal, and frankly, quite surprising. Faced directly on Hamilton's agonizing start at Ferrari in the Bloomberg Hot Pursuit podcast, Wolff spoke bluntly. No beating around the bush, no diplomacy. A raw three-point critique of exactly what has gone awry for his erstwhile marquee driver. And it starts with one word no F1 world champion would ever wish to be told: adaptation. You can't unlearn to drive that fast, Wolff began, backing Hamilton's talent with unwavering belief. In 2021, he was brilliant. Then things changed with the rules and it got a bit more complicated, but he was still driving at an incredibly high level. But now, 10 races in, 0 wins, no podiums, and 6th place in the championship. Hamilton is visibly frustrated, and Wolff says it all begins with the car. The SF25 isn't another machine. It's a foreign idea versus the Mercedes DNA Hamilton learned over more than a decade. From aerodynamic balance to braking sense, from torque delivery to stability on ride, every aspect of the Ferrari communicates in a language Lewis is still attempting to grasp, and that endeavor isn't trifling. Everybody's got their transition time. New car, new DNA how it drives, new engineering team you need to develop chemistry with, Wolff said. It's not the hardware so much, it's the environment, the systems, the chemistry. And now, none of that is functioning. But it was Wolff's second comment that really raised eyebrows. Culture. It's an Italian team, and he's a British man who got parachuted in, Wolff said. And those 7 words bear enormous significance, because more than the carbon beneath the horsepower, Formula One is human. It's trust, communication, rhythm, and right now, Hamilton has none of that at Ferrari. At Mercedes, he was family. He knew the rhythm of each department. He may walk into a meeting and read a room like a book. Relationships were beyond data, beyond telemetry. Those are the relationships that brought world championships. At Ferrari, he's a guest in someone else's house. Respected, no question, but wired, not yet. And that lack of deep connectivity is starting to show up. On the track. Delayed feedback loops, unclear strategy calls, small costly mistakes. In Formula One, milliseconds matter, and right now, Ferrari are losing tenths, not to performance, but to process. Then came Wolff's third and perhaps most honest observation, mojo. We've seen a bit of a pattern. He admitted Lewis at the beginning of the season needs to find his mojo, and the second half of the season has always been very strong. So don't ever write Lewis off. But here's the problem. It's already June and that mojo still hasn't arrived. You can hear it in Hamilton's voice, you can see it in his body language, and you could feel it after the Canadian Grand Prix, where he sounded as defeated as we've heard him in years. When asked about Ferrari's upcoming upgrades, Hamilton replied, "We're really in need of an upgrade, and there's a lot of things that need to change for us to compete at the front." That wasn't frustration, that was fatigue. And when asked how much those upgrades might help, his answer was even blearer. "I don't know if it's much. I don't know how much it is. I don't think it's going to be a lot. So it's just one of those years." Just one of those years? But this was not supposed to be one of those years. This was supposed to be the beginning of something iconic, the story of Formula One's most successful driver, breathing life back into the sport's most legendary team. Instead, it's become a story of misalignment, disappointment, and a rising sense of dread. Fred Vasseur, to his credit, is trying to calm the storm. He's confirmed that Ferrari are planning an upgrade before Silverstone, maybe even in time for Austria. "We will have an upgrade soon before the UK, and perhaps another one a bit later," he told the media. Then he added something that almost contradicted the optimism. "Honestly, today, I think there is much more in the execution and what you are getting from the car than in the potential of the car itself." Let that sink in. Ferrari's team boss is admitting that the problem isn't even necessarily the car. It's the ability to extract performance from it. And that's a terrifying admission, because if your tools are good but your team can't use them properly, you're not going to win anything. For Hamilton, who has spent his career demanding precision, rhythm, and absolute clarity in execution, this is not just unacceptable, it's painful. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc, who knows the internal language and tempo of Ferrari, continues to deliver more consistent results. He isn't dominating, but he's extracting more from the same car. And in the eyes of the media, that contrast is damning, because it doesn't just look like a driving issue, it looks like a fit issue. And that's where the fear begins to grow, because the move to Ferrari was about more than 2025. It was about 2026, about a new generation of power units, about building a legacy that could rival even the Mercedes years. But now, with troubling reports surfacing about Ferrari's engine development for the new era, and whispers that Mercedes might already be ahead, even the long-term dream is under threat. So, what does this all mean? It means Ferrari isn't just under pressure to upgrade, they're under pressure to transform, to build a system around Hamilton that mirrors the trust, fluidity, and execution he once had at Mercedes. Because right now, he's driving in the dark and the clock is ticking. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is just a rough patch, or is Lewis Hamilton discovering that he's joined a team that wasn't ready for him? One thing is certain, Ferrari needs to act fast, because if they don't bring not just performance, but belief, they risk wasting the final chapters of one of Formula One's greatest stories. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned, because what happens next might just determine whether Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari journey ends in triumph.